Yeah. Hi guys. Good evening. All right. How are you? Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Fine. So today we are getting started with our advanced Java. Right? Today is the first class for advanced Java. So what is this advanced Java and what are the prerequisites? Is it cutting? Yeah. So what are the prerequisites to attend this advanced Java and what we are going to learn as part of advanced Java and why to learn advanced Java. All right, fine. First one, advanced Java. Guys, as part of this advanced Java, we are going to understand mainly three things. First one is JDBC, second one servlets, and third one JSP. JDBC, servlets, and JSP. These three parts we are going to learn as part of advanced Java course. Right. In order to attend these advanced Java concepts, what are the prerequisites? What we need to know to continue with this advanced Java course? Right. The prerequisites to attend advanced Java, basics of SQL. You need to have some idea on what is SQL. Fine. Before that, first thing is core Java. So in the core Java, you should know what is class, right? What is object, how to declare variables, right? How to declare methods, class, object, variables, methods, how to work with arrays, how to work with strings, how to work with arrays, how to work with strings, and we need to know OOPS concepts. We need to know OOPS concepts. If you have idea on these topics, then you are eligible to attend advanced Java classes. Class, object, variables, methods, arrays, strings, and OOPS concepts. If you have idea on these things from core Java standpoint, you can learn advanced Java. And second thing is SQL. SQL basics are required. I mean to say how to perform DDL operations, how to perform DML operations, how to perform DQL and DCL. So if you have concepts of this SQL, then you are good to go. And the third part, basics of HTML. Very basic of HTML, if you know, then that is sufficient. So these are three things which are prerequisites to attend our advanced Java. First one is core Java. Second one is SQL. How to create a query, how to execute our query, and how to perform operations in the database. Then basics of HTML. Why we need this HTML? To develop web pages. As part of this advanced Java, we are going to develop applications. A project we are going to develop by using this advanced Java. For that project, we need to create user interface. Web pages we need to create. To create that user interface, we are going to use HTML. Basics of HTML is required to continue. Are you good with all of these three prerequisites? Core Java, SQL, and basics of HTML. Perfect. Now, by end of this course, what we are going to learn? First of all, let's understand one project architecture. In the real time, how a project will be available. As of now, we learned some concepts in the core Java, right? Core Java is a fundamental part of the Java. Basic concepts we have learnt in the core Java, right? What is a programming language? How to write a program? How to compile a program? How to run a program? How to create classes, methods, variables, all that stuff we learnt in the core Java. In core Java, mainly we will focus on the language fundamentals, language syntaxes. That's it. We don't think about project development with core Java. Language fundamentals, syntaxes, methods, classes, variables, data types, OOPS concepts, exception handling, multi-threading, collections, Java 8 features, those concepts we learnt in core Java. By using those concepts, now we need to develop a project. To develop a project, only core Java is not sufficient. To develop a project, only core Java is not sufficient. Along with that core Java, we need to learn advanced concepts also. Java advanced concepts we are going to learn. That's why we are calling it as advanced Java. As part of this advanced Java, mainly three things we are going to cover. What are those three things? First one is JDBC, second one is servlets, and third one is JSP. To be frank, in the current market, in the industry, we are not going to use these three things for the project development because lot of advanced frameworks came into market. For JDBC, the advanced framework is Hibernate. For a Hibernate, there is a advanced that is JPA. Currently in the market, people are using JPA in the real time. In the real time project, in the companies, we are going to develop the project by using JPA. But to understand the JPA, we need to understand what is a Hibernate. To understand the Hibernate, we need to know what is JDBC. So whatever we are learning now, we are not going to use them directly to develop one project in the company. In the company, we are going to develop the project by using Spring Boot, by using microservices, by using data JPA. But to understand that Spring, to understand Spring Boot, to understand Hibernate, we need some base. Those basics we are going to learn as part of advanced Java. All right. Now, do we need to spend 4 to 5 months of time to learn these concepts? No. And to be frank, JSP dead. Nobody is using JSP in the industry. It is outdated. I think I worked with JSP in the year of 2016 or 17. That was the last time when I used JSP in the project. After that, JSP got outdated. Nobody using JSP in the market. People are using Angular or people are using React.js to develop the front end. JSP is used to develop front end of the application. Do you think that in the IT companies anybody using JSP now? No. Angular is there to develop the front end. React.js is available to develop the front end. So we no need to waste much time to learn the JSP. Just 1 week or maximum 10 days of time we are going to spend for the JSP. If I teach JSP for 1 month, that is waste of your time and waste of my time. Nobody will ask in the interview, nobody will use in the real time. Got it? Now, what about this servlets? Servlet concepts we need to know because we are going to use Spring MVC to develop a web application in the Java. That Spring MVC will work based on the servlets. To understand that Spring MVC, we are going to learn this servlets concept. I think in our schools, when you complete your 8th class, you will go for 9th class. What they will teach in the 9th class? In most of the schools, 10th class syllabus they will teach in the 9th class. Yes or no? Why? Why they will teach 10th class syllabus in the 9th class? For 10th, we need to write a central exam, board exam we need to write. In the 9th class also, they will teach 10th class syllabus. In the 10th class also, they will teach 10th class syllabus. Why they are not concentrating on 9th class syllabus? Why they are not concentrating on the 9th class syllabus? No use. There is no exam for that. There is no board exam for that. That is the reason school management will not give priority for 9th class syllabus. They will start 10th class syllabus directly in the 9th. And again in the 10th class syllabus you will study. 2 times you are going to study to write a board exam. Got it? Now similarly, if you want to work in the company, we need to focus on this advanced Java, or we need to focus on Spring framework? We need to focus on the Spring framework. Why we need to focus on the Spring framework? Why we need to focus on the Spring framework? Because in the industry, people are using Spring frame. If you take 100 Java projects in the industry, minimum to minimum 95 to 98 projects will be developed by using Spring with a Spring Boot. 2 or 3 projects are exceptional. Maybe they are using servlets or struts framework or EJB. Some outdated technologies may be available. Those are legacy 10 years back old projects. Any project which is started in the last 5 to 6 years of time, definitely they will use Spring framework or Spring Boot. Current market, Spring Boot. People are using Spring Boot to develop the project. To understand the Spring Boot, Spring we need to understand. To understand the Spring, servlets we need to understand. So whatever the base is required to understand the framework, we are learning in advanced Java. Advanced Java will give you some knowledge on project development. How we are going to develop a web application, how we are going to deploy web application in the server, the fundamental concepts we are going to learn. But in the real time, directly we don't use advanced Java to develop the project. In the company, Spring, Spring Boot, Hibernate, RESTful services, microservices will be used. Sir, then can we start Spring directly? Can we start Spring directly? No. Why? Base knowledge is required. Now, you are in the ground floor, Ashoka IT in the second floor. Can you directly jump to Ashoka IT from ground floor? What do you need to do? First, you need to come to first floor, then only you can come to second floor. So directly you cannot go for a framework because you cannot understand that. To understand a framework, first we need to learn advanced Java. Advanced Java is going to act as a mediator between programmers and frameworks. Got my point, guys? So whatever advanced Java we are learning now, this knowledge will help you to understand Spring framework, to understand Spring Boot easily, to develop real-time applications. Are you clear? Yes. What we are going to learn now? JDBC, servlets, and JSP. Right. But are we going to use them in the companies? No. See, alternates. For JDBC, what is the alternate in the market? Hibernate. For a Hibernate, what is the alternate? JPA. Servlets is available. For servlets, what is the alternate in the market? Spring MVC. That is Spring Web MVC is the alternate. For JSP, what are the alternates available? Angular or React. These are the alternates in the market. But directly we cannot understand them. That's why first we will learn fundamentals. Once we are strong in the fundamentals, then we will go for framework concept. Good. Chalo. Now let us see our project architecture. Sir, how one Java project we are going to develop, where we will use this core Java. We learnt core Java, right? Where we will use core Java in the project development, where we will use advanced Java in the project development. What is our duty in the project? Where we will use Java in the project, first of all, right? Every project will be divided into 3 layers, or I can say 3 parts, right? First one, here user interface will be available. Then here we are going to add one more layer called web layer. Web layer comes into picture now because we are going to develop a web application. Then after, business logic will be available. Then here our database logic will be available. Then database will be available. Any project if you take, projects will follow this architecture. This architecture is called as layered architecture. At the end of the advanced Java, we are going to understand what is this layered architecture. For time being, I'm giving some clarity on this. Database. Tell me, what is the purpose of database? For every project, database will be available. Database is used to store the data. It is used to store the data. Now, users should give that data, right? For that, user interface will be available in the project. For every project, user interface will be available, which is called as UI. Which is called as UI. User interface will be available. End user will be there. He will communicate with our application by using this user interface. End user will communicate with the application by using user interface. Now here our web layer comes into picture. Web layer comes into picture. Here business layer will be available. Business layer will be available. This is our persistence layer. This is called persistence layer. This web layer is containing the logic to handle request and response. Whenever you submit some form, when you give some data, from user interface, web layer will execute. From the web layer, business layer will execute. From the business layer, persistent layer will execute. Persistent layer will interact with our database. So like this, we are going to develop our application. In this application, this part is called as back end of the application. This part is called as front end of the application. This is a database. So total 3 parts available: front end, back end, database. Front end part is there and back end part is available and the database is available. Front end plus back end we need to develop, then only we will become full stack, right? Now coming to this back end, sir, what web layer is available, business layer is available, persistent layer is available. First let's understand what is this persistent layer. Any Java program, hello master, what are you doing? Concentrate. Yeah, we are understanding what is persistence layer. Persistence nothing but storing. Persist means store. Now my Java application should store some data into database. For example, if you go for any website, Facebook or IRCTC, Gmail, first we need to create an account. We need to sign up. What is the meaning of sign up? What is the meaning of sign up? Storing data into application. You will fill the form. You will enter your name, password, email ID, date of birth, gender, submit. Then application will take your data from the form. Application will store your data into database. Here, one Java program, whatever the Java program we are writing, that Java program is responsible to communicate with the database. Already we know database software. Oracle is available, MySQL is available. They are used to store the data. In the Oracle classes, manually you executed insert into employee values. Manually you executed insert query. But from now, Java program should insert that data. Java program should update that data. Java program should retrieve the data from the database. A Java program should communicate with our database. The logic we are writing in the Java program to communicate with the database, that logic is called as persistence logic. Can you guys tell me what is persistence logic? Not only storing, it can be updating, it can be deleting, it can be retrieving also. Any Java logic, any Java program which is responsible to communicate with the database, that logic is called as persistence logic. Now tell me, what is persistence? Persistence means storing. A Java program should communicate with the database to persist the data. That means I need to store the data in the database. As of now, in the Oracle classes, you installed database software, you executed a query, create a table name. insert into table name, values, some values you have given. Manually you executed a query to insert the data. But from now, what we need to do? We need to develop a project. Users will use that project. Now, I am opening a Facebook. I want to create one account in the Facebook. I will enter my name, my email ID, my mobile number. Do you think that Zuckerberg will insert my data into database? When I sign up in the Facebook, who will insert my data into database? Person will insert or program will insert? Come on guys, person will insert or program will insert? Program. Program should insert the data into database. If a program wants to insert the data into database, our program should connect with the database. Java program should connect with the database. The Java program which contains logic to connect with the database, that Java program is called as persistent program, persistence layer program. Persistence layer nothing but the program which contains the logic to communicate with the database. That communication can be for retrieving, for updating, for deleting, for inserting also. Reason can be anything. I may want to insert the data, I may want to update the data, I may want to delete the data. Finally, as a Java programmers, we should know how to write the program which can communicate with the database to perform CRUD operations: create, update, retrieve, delete. Understand my point? Here, to develop this persistence layer, we are going to use one technology called JDBC. Why we need to learn the JDBC? What is the use of the JDBC? JDBC means Java Database Connectivity. The main purpose of the JDBC to communicate with the database only. Are you able to follow me? By using JDBC, can I develop one project completely? Can we develop one project completely by using JDBC? No. JDBC can be used for which purpose? Only you can communicate with the database by using JDBC. You can insert the record, you can update the record, delete the record, retrieve the record. Only you can do database communication with the Java program by using JDBC. JDBC will act as a mediator between Java program and the database. Are you able to follow me? Java program and database. If Java program wants to communicate with the database, we need one mediator. Now, simple example, I'm in institute. Now I want to go to my home. I need a bike or auto or some car. I need some vehicle. Vehicle I will use as a mediator to travel from my home to institute, from institute to my home. Similarly, if Java program wants to connect with the database, we need one mediator. Who is that mediator? JDBC. JDBC means Java Database Connectivity. If Java program wants to connect with a database, we will use JDBC. Are you clear with that? Next, good. Let me write that. We are going to understand what is persistence layer. First one, for every project, database is required. What is a database? A software which is used to store the data for long time. What is a database? What is database, man? Come on, last row. What is a database? Yeah. Yes. What is a database? Yes. Database is a software. Concentrate on the class. Right. Database is a software which is used to store the data for long time. Now, in order to store the data into database, we are going to use persistence layer. What is persistent layer? It contains logic to communicate with database. Now here Java program is available. My Java program want to communicate with database. If Java program wants to communicate with the database, we need a mediator. Who is that mediator? JDBC. JDBC stands for Java Database Connectivity. By using JDBC programs, by writing JDBC logic, by using Java program, I can communicate with the database. I can perform any operation, create, insert, update, delete, retrieve, whatever you want. You can do with the database by using JDBC. JDBC is a mediator between Java program and database. Perfect. And the next one, we are going to use business layer. We are going to use business layer. It contains business logic of our project. Business logic of our project. Sir, what is the meaning of business logic in our project? Come on, any idea? What can be a business logic of a project? Huh? Source code. Any example for business logic? Huh? Java program, that's fine. Any scenario, any use case for business logic in the project? Any example for business logic? Any example? Any example on the business logic? Sorry? Right. Business logic can be anything. It can be anything. For example, business logic is something like sending email for user. Whenever you register in the website, I will send one email. Congratulations, your account is created. Welcome to Ashok IT. Whenever you register in the website, you will receive one email from the project. Can I call that logic as a business logic? Sending email for the user is a business logic. Second one, sending OTP to the user. Sending OTP to the user. That is a business logic. Can I say ticket booking is a business logic? You are booking a ticket for a train ticket, you are booking the ticket, that is also one business logic. Sending the email, sending the OTP, performing user data validation, that also a business logic. Business logic is a dynamic. From project to project, from screen to screen, business logic is going to be different. Sir, now how to write this business logic? That's where actual Java comes into picture. Whatever the concepts you learnt in the Java, control statements, your arrays, strings, methods, classes, variables, objects, collections, multi-threading, inner classes, Java 8 features, all the Java concepts we are going to use to develop business logic in the project. Business logic can be anything. Business logic can be anything. Project to project, logic will be different. If you go for a banking application, transferring the money, credit card payments, debit card payments, online transfer, apply for the loan, interest calculation, sending the messages to the customers, sending emails to the customers, statement generation, all logics will be available related to bank. If you go for hospital project, booking the OP for a patient, creating appointment with the doctor, okay, such kind of business logics will be available. Business logic will change from project to project. We need to understand the client requirement. Based on that requirement, we need to develop business logic. Sir, which technology we are going to use to develop that business logic? Java. What technology we are going to use for that? Java. Whatever the concepts we learnt in the core Java, by using core Java concepts, we are going to develop business layer in the project. Sir, we learnt Java, but we don't know where to use Java in the project. That Java concepts, logical thinking, our methods, classes, objects, variables, collections, exception handling, multi-threading, Whatever you learn, OOPS concepts, whatever you learnt in the Java or which we are going to learn in the Java, everything we are going to use in the business layer development. Business layer, nothing but actual business logic of the project. Sum of two numbers, that is also a business logic. That is also a business logic. But in the project, we will have different business logics. By using Java concepts, we are going to develop that business logic. Are you clear? Good. So now here, what is the purpose of JDBC? What is the purpose of JDBC? JDBC is used to communicate with database. Do we need to communicate with the database? Why we need to communicate with the database? Yes, every project should communicate with the database to store the data, to retrieve the data. So Java, whatever the project we are developing, that project should communicate with the database. For that we will use JDBC. Now, I hope you got the clarity. What is the persistence layer? What is the business layer? What is the persistence layer? The layer which contains the logic to communicate with the database. That is called as persistence layer. What is the business layer? Which contains actual business logic of the application. What is the meaning of a business logic of the application? It can be anything. Can I give you a static definition for business logic? Why? From page to page, from project to project, business logic is going to be different. Now, simple example. Let me go for one website. Yeah. If I go to Make My Trip application, Now, in this Make My Trip application, there are several functionalities available. Flights booking is available, hotels booking is available, trains booking, cabs booking, charter flights, n number of things are available. Now, sir, what is the business logic here? When I go for flights booking, I am using user interface. Whatever you see on the website, whatever is visible on the browser, that is called user interface. Now I am a user, I am using Make My Trip application. I'm selecting flights. I want to travel from Hyderabad to Mumbai. I want to travel from Hyderabad to Mumbai tomorrow, 12th to now 24th, return date. Okay. From date I selected, to I selected, start date, return date. I selected, I'm clicking on search. When I click on search, what it is doing is, it is going to the backend. From the front end, request sent to the backend. In the backend, web layer executed, business layer executed, persistence layer also executed. It retrieved the flights which are available from Hyderabad to Mumbai on those dates. It has given me and it is displaying here. So I clicked on search button by using user interface. From to start date, end date. Based on my request, I clicked on search button. Based on my request, the project executed in the background, it has given me the response. Web layer is executed, business layer executed, persistent layer executed, and the database is also available. Make My Trip having a database or will not have a database? They will have a database. Without database, how they will maintain data? No, it's not possible, right? So every project will use database. Database is used to store the data. To communicate with the database by using Java, we have JDBC. Similarly, if you go for a .NET program also should communicate with the database. For the .NET people, they have ADO.NET. What is that? ADO.NET is available. .NET program also should communicate with the database. They have ADO.NET. Java program should communicate with the database. We have JDBC. For Java people, JDBC available. For .NET people, ADO.NET is available. They are acting as a mediator between our program and database. Good. Now here, what is the business logic? They are checking what are the flights available. They are giving all the flights data and they are displaying this is the fare 8,950. Okay, starting price so 4,600. I mean departure flight, return flight, total price. Okay, see here starting price, I mean departure price 4,600, return flight 4,600, 4,200, total price 8,950. They calculated departure price and return price and they are giving me total price. What is that? Business logic. That is a business logic. So simply price, start price and end price. They performed sum of two numbers and they are giving the total number. That is a business logic. So that business logic will be available in the project. Every project will contain a business logic. Which technology we are using to develop business logic? Java. We are Java programmers. We will use Java concepts, sum of two numbers. We learnt in the basic variables. For operators, we used operators concept to perform sum of two numbers. Such kind of business logics will be available to execute that. Every project contains such kind of business logic. So you should be strong in Java fundamentals to develop that business logic. That business logic will change from project to project, will change from screen to screen, will change from screen to screen, will change from project to project. Now, we learnt some programs in the core Java, how to perform sum of two numbers, how to verify prime number, pattern printing, string programs, arrays programs. Why? Tomorrow when you go for company, are we going to write a program to reverse array, to reverse a string? Are we going to get that requirement in the project? If customer enter the name, reverse it and display to the customer. Anybody will give that requirement? Then why we lent that arrays and strings reversing the program, sum of two numbers? What is the use of that? Yes, whatever the programs we practiced, those programs are used to improve your logical thinking. As a programmer, you should have logical thinking. Why? Tomorrow, you need to understand client requirement. Based on the requirement, you need to develop the logic. That is the reason in the core Java, we will discuss logical programming, array, how to reverse the array, sum of the array, maximum number, minimum number, string, reverse a string, find the duplicate characters in the string, find the non-repeated characters in the string. All the programs we don't develop in the project. Those programs we discussed to improve our thinking. Why? Because tomorrow, every day, new requirement will be there. Every day, new task will be there. Every day, you need to work with your brain. Why companies paying lakhs of salaries for software engineers? Why? Software engineers should work with the brain. Every day is a new task. Every day, new requirement. Every day is new. Every day is new. Software job is challenging. You will never feel bored in the software job, especially programmers. Why? Whatever the work we have done yesterday, are we going to do the same work today? Are we going to do the same work tomorrow? No. Every day will be challenging. Every day new task. Every day new requirement. Every day new business logic. Today, if you write the logic to send the email, as khatam. Tomorrow you need to write the logic to send the OTP. That is also completed. Next day, you need to write the logic for other requirement. Whatever the logic you do today, that is only for today. You will not do the same thing tomorrow. Every day it is fresh requirement. Every day new requirement. So logically, you need to be very strong to survive in the software industry as a programmer. Programmers means dynamic behavior. Every moment you have to think. With your thought process, with your brain, you need to think and you need to write the code. Okay, today requirement, write the logic to book the hotels. Tomorrow logic, write it to book the flights. Tomorrow write it to book the cab. Based on the requirement, our logic will change. Where that logic we will implement? Business layer. So to implement that business layer, which technology we are going to use? Java only. Whatever the concepts we learnt in the Java, variables, methods, classes, operators, arrays, strings, collections, oops, whatever. All the Java concepts we have learnt, right? By using those concepts only, we are going to develop business layer. So business layer means anything which is required for the client. Anything which is required for the client. Some clients business logic, booking hotel tickets. Some clients business logic, booking flight ticket, money transfer, loan applications, calculations, manipulations, lot of things will be available, right? So to understand, to implement this business logic, we need to be a very good programmer. We need to be very strong in the logic. We need to be very strong in the logic. Now, if you are not strong in the core Java, can you develop that business layer? If you are not strong in the core Java, can we develop that business layer? No. Why? First of all, you need to understand the fundamentals of the Java. If you are good in the fundamentals of the Java, then only you can write the business logic which is required for your project. That's why Java is divided into two parts: core, advanced. In the core Java, programming, fundamentals, syntaxes, concepts. In the advanced Java, project development. By using advanced Java, we are going to develop a project. In the project, logic is required. That logic we are going to develop by using core Java concepts only. Good. Next one is web layer. Okay, database means we are good. A software which is used to store the data for long time. So what are the databases available? Oracle is one database. MySQL is one database. SQL Server is available. Postgres SQL is available. MongoDB is available, etc. Like that, there are several databases available in the market. Good. Persistence layer. It contains logic to communicate with the database. Java program should communicate with the database. For that, JDBC we are going to use as a mediator. JDBC is used to develop persistence layer in our project. So in the advanced Java, we are going to develop the project that will contain front end, that will contain back end. In the back end, persistent layer is available. That persistent layer means communicate with the database. Business layer, core logic will be available. In the business layer, core logic. So what is that logic? It can be anything. Project to project it will change. Screen to screen it is going to change. Right. Next one, web layer. This web layer contains logic to take request from the front end and give response to the front end. Okay, user is interacting with the user interface, right? When user enters some data, that data should go from front end to back end, and the response should come from back end to front end. That's where web layer comes into picture. To develop this web layer, we are using servlets. What is the purpose of servlets? What is the purpose of servlets? Servlets are used to develop web layer. Sir, what is the duty of the web layer in the project? It is responsible to take the request and give the response. That's it. As of now, we are entering the data in the keyboard. Sum of two numbers, enter first number. By using scanner, we are taking the data from the keyboard. But in the real time, client will enter the data in the keyboard by using command prompt, or client will use web pages to enter the data. Clients will use web pages, login form, registration form, forgot password, search form. Some forms will be available. Those forms will be available as part of UI, that is user interface. To develop this user interface, we can use JSP, Java Server Pages. What is that? JSP, Java Server Pages. But in the market, JSP is outdated. In place of JSP, we are going for Angular or React to develop user interface of the project. So JDBC, servlets, JSP. By using JDBC, servlets and JSP, we can develop one project. We can develop one project which contains front end, back end and database. Database is used to store the data. My Java project should communicate with the database. If Java project wants to communicate with the database, we need one mediator, that is JDBC. JDBC will act as a mediator between Java program and database. And next one, web layer will be available. Web layer contains the logic to take the request and give the response. Servlets we are going to use in the web layer. What is advanced version for the servlet? In future, Spring MVC. In place of servlet, we will use Spring MVC. In place of JDBC, we will use Hibernate. In place of JDBC, we will use Hibernate. JSP is used to develop front end, user interface. In future, we will replace the JSP with the Angular. Servlets we will replace with the Spring MVC. JDBC we will replace with Hibernate. So that is the technology stack in the industry. But to understand that Hibernate, we need to work with the JDBC first. To understand the Spring, we need to understand servlets first. Are you clear? JDBC, servlets, JSP. Good. So here, business layer, it contains the business logic of our project. Now, business layer, business logic will be changing from screen to screen and project to project. Business logic will change from screen to screen and project to project. So your thought process, when company should take you, or if company want to pay the salary for you, you need to be very strong in the business logic development. Every day you need to develop the business logic based on the client requirement. Next one, web layer. What is the purpose of web layer? It contains logic to deal with request and response. It contains logic to deal with request and response. Right. Next one, we can use servlets. We can use servlets to develop web layer in Java projects basically. Now we have servlets in the Java to develop a web application. If you go for a .NET, they have ASP.NET is available. For Java, core Java available. For a .NET, C# is available. Our core Java, there is C#, both are same. They will also have hooks, arrays, strings, methods, classes, objects, collections, exception handling, multi-threading, everything will be there in the Java. That is called C#. We have core Java. C#, core Java. We came to next level, advanced Java. In the advanced Java, we have JDBC. They have ADO. We have JDBC, they have ADO. What is the purpose of JDBC? Java application can communicate with the database by using JDBC. .NET application can communicate with the database by using ADO. Now, in the Java, to develop the business logic, Java programming we need to do, they will use C# programming. In the Java, I need to develop a web application. For that, we will go for servlets and JSPs. They will go for ASP.NET, C#.NET, ASP.NET, core Java, advanced Java. From the Java full stack, core Java, advanced Java. .NET full stack, C#.NET, ASP.NET. Are you clear with this? Good, perfect. Web layer contains logic to deal with request and response. Now, here in this Java application, whenever you click one button like book now, when I click on book now, it is going to execute one servlet in the background. One servlet program will execute in the background. Now, simple. Here, I'm selecting one-way trip from Hyderabad to, what is this? Boston, Okay. Yeah. Hyderabad to Boston. I selected some data from to date. I clicked on search. Where I am doing the operation, guys? Am I doing operation on the servlet? I'm doing operation on the user interface. User interface. User interface, nothing but front end. In the front end, I'm entering some data. I'm clicking on search button. Now, the whatever the data we entered in the front end, that data will go as a request to the servlet. Servlet will capture the data from the front end. Then servlet will take the data. Servlet will give the data to the business layer. Business layer will give the data to persistent layer. Persistent layer will talk to database. Hey database, from Hyderabad to Boston, tomorrow, what are the flights available? Give me the data. Like that query will execute. Select star from table, pair flights available from Hyderabad to Boston, date is equal to, whatever the data I have selected. With that query, whatever the data available in the database table, the data will come back to our servlet. Servlet will send the data to UI. UI is displaying the data in the beautiful format. Whatever the data you entered, that data will be taken by servlet program. Servlet will give the data to the business layer. Business layer will talk to persistent layer. Persistent layer will talk to database. Query will execute. It will retrieve the data. Finally, servlet will send the data to the front end. Front end will display the data with beautiful colors, buttons and all. So servlet is responsible to take the request and give the response. Request response logic will be handled by servlet. We need to develop that servlet program to deal with request and response in the web application. Whatever the web application we are developing, that web application should deal with the request and response. To deal with that request and response, we are using servlet. We can use servlets to develop web layer in Java projects. And the next one, user interface, that is UI layer. What is UI layer? It contains presentation logic. It contains presentation logic. Sir, to develop the presentation logic, already HTML is available na? Already HTML is available na? Then why to go for JSP? HTML is static, JSP is dynamic. We can develop presentation logic with the dynamic behavior by using JSP. I have a list of data. I want to iterate the list in the presentation. Okay, so HTML is static. JSP can be used to build dynamic web pages. By using JSP, we can develop dynamic web pages. By using HTML, we can build static web pages. Right. Now UI layer, it contains presentation logic, which is also called as user interface. User interface. HTML to develop static web pages. Next one, JSP to develop dynamic web pages. That is the difference. What is the difference between HTML and JSP? HTML is used to develop static web pages. JSP is used to develop dynamic web pages. So JSP is used to develop user interface. Front-end logic can be developed by using JSP. Web logic will be developed by using servlet. Persistent logic will be developed by using JDBC. So JDBC, servlets and JSP is called as advanced Java in the Ameerpet, especially. Yes, in the Ameerpet only it is called as advanced Java. In the IT, there is no advanced Java. They will call it as J2EE, Java 2 Enterprise Edition, which is used to develop web and enterprise applications. Got it? But in the Ameerpet, core Java, advanced Java. Core Java means fundamentals. Advanced Java means project development. To develop that project, JDBC, servlet, JSP. Now, can you tell me what is the purpose of JDBC, servlets, and JSP? Come on, guys. What is the purpose of JDBC? To develop persistence layer. To develop persistence layer. What is persistence layer? What is persistent layer? Come on. What is persistent layer? The logic which is responsible to communicate with the database. Any logic which is any Java program which is responsible to communicate with the database, that Java program is called as persistent logic based program. Now, what is the purpose of servlets? To develop web layer. What is the meaning of web layer? Which will take the data from the front end, which will give the data to the front end. Earlier in our Java program, we used a scanner to read the data from the keyboard and display the data to the keyboard. But here we are going to use a front end. We need to take the data from the front end and we need to give the data to the front end. For that, servlets we are going to use. Servlet is a program which will take the request, which will give the response. Request from the front end, response to the front end. From and to. Request response will be handled by servlet in the Java web applications. Next one, JSP. JSP stands for Java Server Pages. What is the purpose of this? To develop UI layer. Nothing but presentation layer. It is used to develop presentation layer. Already HTML available now. Then why to go for JSP? HTML is used to develop only static web pages, whereas JSP is used to develop dynamic web pages. JSP is used to develop dynamic web pages. Perfect. As part of this advanced Java, mainly we are going to learn these three things: JDBC, servlets, JSP. After completion of this JDBC, servlets and JSP, we are going to understand MVC architecture, because projects should be developed by following some rules and guidelines that will be covered as part of MVC. That means how to organize our classes in the project. Simple. In our house, when you want to construct one house, are you going to construct a single big room for your house? No. Why? Kitchen, hall, dining area, like that. We are going to divide into multiple rooms, right? We are not going to create one single big room. Similarly, in the project also, we are going to divide our classes into multiple partitions. Okay, that partitioning we are going to understand by using MVC architecture. Every project will be developed by using MVC architecture. MVC architecture is basically will give you more readability and easy maintenance for the project's development. How to organize our classes, how to divide the logics, web components, business components, persistent components should be divided for easy maintenance in the future. Once we are able to complete the project development by using JDBC, servlets and JSP, finally we are going to learn MVC architecture. Okay guys, now with this JDBC, servlets and JSP, we can develop one end-to-end web application. One web project can be developed. Now, along with these things, guys, we need to learn servers. We need to learn the server. Server is used to run the, as of now, how you are running your program? Command prompt, Java C, class name.java, Java space, class name. We are accessing our project in our command prompt. But web application means we should be able to access in the browser. www.facebook.com, www.gmail.com, www.linkedin.com. Similarly, whatever the project we are developing, our project also should be accessed in the browser. For that, we need to keep our project in the server, then we can access our project from the browser. whatever the project you are developing, that project, not from command prompt, we can access from the browser. To execute our projects, we need to go for servers concept. Here I'm going to explain how to work with Tomcat server and how to work with JBoss server. Tomcat and JBoss. So these are the servers that we can use to run our Java web application. Got it? Yes. Kafka. It's not a server. Yep. Are you guys clear? These are the 5 things that we are going to learn. JDBC, servlets, JSP, MVC architecture, and servers. How to work with the servers we are going to learn. But the thing is, I'm not going to start the JDBC directly, because to work with the JDBC, some core concepts are required. What is the API? What is a jar? What is the path? What is a class path? How to create the jar? How to execute the jar? Some fundamental concepts are required. Those fundamental concepts we are going to discuss. JDBC will start after 3-4 days of time. So first we need to understand some Java based API concepts we need to learn. After understanding those concepts, then we will start our actual JDBC. Clear with this? Yeah. Look at the project architecture once. Finally, at the end of advanced Java, we should be able to develop one application like this. This is the climax of advanced Java. Right? What is the climax of advanced Java? Developing one end-to-end project. Front end, web layer, business layer, persistent layer with the database. Any questions, anyone? Anybody? Any questions here? No questions, huh? आज Java 8 का class नहीं है sir. Today I'm not going to take Java 8 class. Tomorrow I will take that. Speed हो रहा है. No problem. No problem. What you are not able to understand? No problem. Do you know how to create a class? Then I'm not going to start the JDBC right now. So if you are not able to understand, that is fine. Let's see for 3-4 days. HTML hardly, it will take 30 minutes to understand what is H1, what is H2, what is a table, what is paragraph. ये क्या है यार? HTML भी सीखना है क्या separately? हाँ? HTML, do you need to spend separate time to learn the HTML? Nothing is there. HTML, no. Listen to me, guys. Listen to me. HTML we need when we go for JSP. JSP is the last part of our course. Actual advanced Java is going to take 45 days of time. In the 45 days of time, last 1 week we'll discuss JSP. At the time of JSP, we need HTML. By that time, your UI development also will complete. Right? No problem. Sir, order of this advanced Java concepts. First, we are going to learn some core basic part we are going to learn from tomorrow. After that, we are going to learn, here I'm going to teach you what is the API, what is a jar, what is a jar file, all those stuff. Then JDBC, JDBC, after JDBC completion, JDBC may take 10 days of time. After JDBC completion, servlets will be available. After servlet, JSP. When we go for JSP, then HTML knowledge is required. Not right now. Not right now. Whatever the project you are seeing, this is 45 days of work. Not from tomorrow we are going to develop this. This is the climax of the course. At the end of the course, you are going to develop like this. Okay? Yes. Huh? How? Server. Whatever the project we are running, right? Everything we are going to package and we are going to keep inside the server. Morning 7 o'clock core Java people, if you know how to create a Java class, how to create a object, how to write a main method, how to compile a program, how to run a program, you are eligible for advanced Java. There is nothing different here. We will create one Java class, we will write a main method, we will write 4-5 lines of code. That's it. That's it. You no need to worry about that, sir. We don't know what is the JSP, what is servlet, what is server. We don't need that. If you know how to create simple Java class with the main method, if you know how to compile, how to run, that is sufficient. Remaining coding, that is my responsibility. I will teach you that, right? Huh. MVC architecture, that is the last part. MVC is basically architecture. Spring MVC will follow this MVC architecture only. Last in advanced Java. It is for a 2 days topic. MVC architecture basically 2 to 3 days a topic in the advanced Java. Yes, that is different. Forget about Spring. That is different. हाँ, project पूरा end-to-end project बनाना है हम. ये mini project है basic understanding of how to integrate JDBC servlet and JSP के लिए. Weekends will conduct those tools. अभी तो नहीं चाहिए. पहले we will concentrate on this development. Tools we will discuss in the JRTP. Any other questions, anyone? This side, any questions, anyone? No questions, huh? अभी तो दर्द है भाई. Still दर्द लग रहा है मुझे. भाई हाँ. You have seen how I came to the class now. Little pain is there. I can't take full support of this leg now. After 15 days today, I came out from my house. We'll discuss that after the class. Okay, fine. So can you tell me guys, what is the difference between core Java and advanced Java? Yeah, what is the difference? Chota bhai, bada bhai. Core Java means it is basic fundamentals of Java, fundamental concepts of Java, like how to write program creation, how to deal with the programs creation, compilation, how to compile a program, and how to execute the program creation, compilation, execution, using operators in the program, control statements, how our program execution should be controlled by using control statements, and how to use arrays, how to use strings to represent the data, and how to use OOPS concepts, how to deal with group of objects, exceptions, all that stuff will be covered in the core Java. Core Java will give you the fundamental concepts of the Java language. By using those fundamental concepts, we are going to develop a project. To develop a web application, only core Java is not sufficient. Along with core Java, servlets and JSPs and JDBC is required. In the core Java, mainly you need to focus on the logical thinking. In the advanced Java, you need to focus on the project development. How to develop one project with the front end, back end, how to communicate with the database. That project development you need to focus in the advanced Java. Logical thinking you need to focus in the core Java classes, right? Now, in advanced Java, as we discussed, we are going to develop a project. Our project is going to look like this. At the end of the advanced Java, you should be able to develop one project like this. Project should contain persistent layer, business layer, web layer, and presentation layer. Presentation layer, nothing but user interface. JSP we are going to use to develop that presentation layer. And project will have a web layer. Web layer will deal with request and response. Whatever the operation we do on the UI, a request will go to the servlet. Servlet will give the response to the UI. From UI, servlet is going to take the data. Servlet will give the data to the UI. Servlet is basically web component which will contain the logic to deal with request and response. Business layer, nothing but logic will change from project to project. Next one, persistence layer. Persistence layer, nothing but the program which is going to communicate with the database, that is called as persistence layer. How to communicate with the database from the Java program? By using JDBC. JDBC is a mediator between Java and database. Now, in our advanced Java course, we are going to learn from here. We will start with JDBC, then we will learn servlet, then we will learn JSP. JDBC is our first part, servlet is our second part, JSP is our last part. Once all these three things are completed, we will integrate JDBC, servlet, JSP, and we will develop one project by using MVC architecture. So that is the agenda for advanced Java, guys. Perfect. Any questions? All of you installed the database software, right? Which database? Oracle or MySQL? Oracle software is installed. Fine. In the JDBC, I will use both Oracle and MySQL. Few days I will use Oracle database. Few days I will show you how to connect with both databases. Right. When JRTP will start? February. When Spring Boot will start? Spring Boot. GCPI and MIT BTech, can I get Yashwant Verma? Yes, man. You can get into IT. No problem. Spring Boot will start from Jan 4th. That is not for our people, guys. Our Spring Boot will start once we complete our servlets, right? We need to understand the servlets, otherwise you can't understand the Spring. So Spring, whatever, my Spring Boot batch is going to start from Jan 4th. That is not for you. That is not for you. Expected date. Hamara servlets hone ke baad. Mostly in the Feb. In the Feb first week, our Spring Boot batch will start. Spring with Spring Boot will start. Okay. Jan 4th batch is not for ours, not for our full stack people. That is different batch. For us, Spring Boot will start in the month of February, mostly February first week or second week it will start. Yes, sir. Hibernate is required. Hibernate is used to communicate with the persistent layer. Spring Boot with the Hibernate integration will be there. Na? Hibernate we have to learn. In the SBM, in the Spring Boot, I will cover Hibernate also. DevOps batch, February. Angular is part of our JRTP. Yeah. AWS Angular I will cover in the JRTP. Spring Boot project will happen parallelly. Morning one class, evening one class will be there. Yes, guys, the plan for full stack people by January ending or by Feb first week mostly we'll complete our advanced Java. As I told you, no need to spend much time on the advanced Java because in the real time we are not going to use it directly. Why we are learning advanced Java is to understand the frameworks of Java, Hibernate, Spring and all. By February first week, advanced Java batch will be completed. Once advanced Java is completed, then movie will start. Spring Boot microservices and Java real-time project. These batches will happen parallelly. One batch will start in the morning, one batch will start in the evening. In the JRTP, Angular will be covered, AWS will be covered, 20 tools will be covered, and one project also we are going to develop. When you attend the interview, mainly they will ask questions on these two areas. To attend the interview, these topics are very, very, very important. Spring Boot without Spring Boot microservices, getting the job in the Java is very difficult. Every project is using Spring Boot only. Advanced Java we are learning for this area only. Spring Boot microservice and Java real-time project. They will start for us in the month of February. In the Feb month, we are going to start them. Once we start this, they will take 3 months of time parallelly. Morning one class, evening one class. Right. So Feb, March, April, by May, we'll complete. By May, we will done with our full stack program. April to May, in between, we will complete it. एडवांस जावा होने के बाद चालू होता है प्लेसमेंट्स. आफ्टर कंप्लीशन ऑफ एडवांस्ड जावा ओनली आवर प्लेसमेंट ड्राइव्स विल स्टार्ट. ठीक है. सो स्प्रिंग बूट एंड माइक्रोसर्विस पैरेलली यू कैन अटेंड देम. freshers, for freshers core Java, advanced Java they will ask some concepts of Spring also. No. Placement drive for people who want to go as freshers, that's it. People who want to go with experience, Spring Boot microservices. और क्या भाई, क्या चल रहा, कैसे चल रहा प्रैक्टिस? सही चल रहा. My morning batch for advanced Java is not available now. And as I told you, this batch backup videos also will be given. I will upload those videos. Any other questions? Business logic. Yes. Right. We will apply that and it will decide how much time it is going to execute. The main important part is business logic only, right? What our application has to do, that will be there in the business logic, business layer. REST API will be covered in the Spring Boot. Spring Boot microservice means REST API development will come in the Spring Boot. Okay guys, good, then we are done for today. So from tomorrow onwards, we are going to understand not JDBC. To understand JDBC, some Java, core Java concepts are required. A brush up on the core Java we are going to do for 3 to 4 days of time. Once we are clear with that part, then we will go for JDBC part. Mostly JDBC will start in the next Monday or Tuesday. So from tomorrow, don't miss the classes. 5 PM to 6:30 PM IST, daily class will be available. Okay, thank you guys. Java 8 will there today is not there. Tomorrow onwards we have it at 7 o'clock. I will make it 7. I will take in offline only. Okay. Chalo guys, good. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow.